We are live. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday here on the morning show, Stock Market TV. Spencer, JC, Alfonso. No Strazza today. He's got some construction in his office. It's a whole thing. He'll be back tomorrow. But we got a good show nonetheless. We got Michael Nauss on the show at 9. We got Kenny Glick. We got Mary stopping by a little bit later. Our morning chat. Everyone off to a good start? Yes, I think so. Good. Excellent. What's on the mind today? What are we talking about? Talking about China a little bit, maybe. We've been talking about China, so more of the same there. I'm crackling. What does that mean? Like my audio is crackling, or I don't know. I assume if I'm good, let me know. I think I'm good. All right, here we go.
All right, Mr. Spencer Israel, we are back. It's the JC and Spencer show. Strazza's not here to tell me how dumb the things I say are, So, Spencer, that's your job to call me out on my bullshit.
I will do my very best.
Listen, Strazza's not here to tell JC how great he is, and, quite the opposite. Strazza goes out of his way to call me out on my bullshit, and I like it. I respect it, Spencer. I respect it.
I appreciate Strazza doing some real boots on the ground due diligence on like the South Florida Key West construction industry. I appreciate his dedication to the cause.
My understanding is that that industry can be incredibly frustrating to the locals there.
Well, I appreciate his dedication, and he will report back with what he finds.
Somebody explained to Strazza that is not geographically oriented. That's just the nature of the beast. These construction guys and these contractors, they can't be trusted. They're not reliable at all, these guys. They're not reliable.
Yeah.
I got a deck put on my house, an expensive, humongous deck, like elevated. It's like a whole thing. The inspector still hasn't come to approve it. So I don't even know if I'm going to fall off or die or anything. Like, nobody cares.
That's overrated. Nobody actually cares, right, about the inspection. Do they? Does anyone care?
I would feel a lot more comfortable having my entire family on the deck knowing that the inspector says we're good to go instead of some dude who doesn't return my phone calls.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that sounds right.
The way he put it is that I could put a truck up on that deck and I'm good to go. But I don't know that I believe him. And not that I know how I would get a truck up there anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you wouldn't.
I don't know. Can't be trusted. We got a lot to talk about in the market. NASDAQ up 100 points. Can we go?
Yeah. Are you excited for the Fed today or not?
I didn't know that the Fed was doing that. I didn't know they were still doing that. Are we still doing these Fed things?
Yeah. You didn't get the invitation? I thought you got the invitation. 2024.
We still doing this thing? Is it like the minutes, or is it like a Fed meeting? Like,
I'm sorry. Did I say today? I meant tomorrow.
It's a minutes. Is that the thing?
No, it's no. The minutes are like a month after the fact. It's like they have the meeting, and then a month later they release the minutes. So the minutes will be in January, right? But the next meeting is tomorrow. And
fun fact: the minutes are not a podcast. Like in my head, for many years, I thought like you could listen to the minutes as you go for a walk or something like that. As it turns out, that's not the case at all.
No.
It seems like it would make a lot more sense if the minutes were a podcast.
Yeah.
Can we go, please? Let's go.
Oh wait, I was looking at the wrong year. Yeah, it's not. I'm a week off. Whatever. Moving on. Forget this.
Fake news, Spencer. Fake news.
I was looking at 2023. I don't know why.
You see what I'm dealing with, folks? You see what I'm dealing with?
2024. Jeez, dear
Not
Lord.
only did I not realize that the Fed still did these meetings, they're fake meetings, fake news. Thanks, Spencer.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Next week. We got the Dow futures up 80 points this morning, 44,400. We got the S&P 500 futures up over 1/3%, up 20 handles, just under 6,100. NASDAQ 100 futures leading the way, up 121 points, up over 0.5%, 21,525. We got the 30-year bond futures not doing much, just under 119, down about 20 basis points. Crude oil back at 69.5, up 1.25%. Copper flat at 430. Gold up close to 0.5%, 2730. Silver down 0.5%, 3260, with the volatility index back below 14, 1380 for the VIX. Over in funny money land, we got Bitcoin up 2,200 points this morning. That's over 2.2% at 98,850. We got Ethereum 3,750 up 120 points. That's 3.3% to the upside. Solana leading the way, 227 up 13.5 points. That's 6.5% to the upside for Solana, bouncing off that key resistance. We'll talk about that now. A former resistance, I should say. Binance just under 700, up almost 3% on the day. Total crypto market cap, Mr. Spencer Israel, 3.45 trillion, with the Bitcoin dominance rolling over once again, back under 57%. What stands out from this morning's futures, my friend?
I'm looking at the futures. I'm looking at the reaction to the CPI print we just got.
Is this fake news, or is
No,
that an
no,
actual thing?
no. That's just happened.
So the CPI, so that's that made up number where they tell us that, that it's inflation or not inflation. Is that what that is?
Yeah. So month over month, it did tick up, but it came in right where the economists thought it would come in. Credit to the economists, 2.7% year over year rise in various rise in price in various goods. That was the estimate. So credit to the estimators out there for getting that one right. I'm just kind of going through and looking at where the it's always kind of interesting to look at where the where prices increase the most and the least.
Can I just reiterate that this CPI thing is criminal? It really is criminal. We know that it's incorrectly calculated. They know that it's incorrectly calculated. They know that we know that it's incorrectly calculated. Yet they continue to do this and just lie to the general public. I mean, this CPI thing is criminal. Anybody who is involved in putting this together should be ashamed of themselves. You are disappointing your family and earthlings all over.
All you have to do is look at the S&P futures in the last 9 minutes to see that it matters a little bit. It matters, right?
We know that it's just a made up number. They know that we know. We know that they know that we know. Yet they still do this lie. They're literally lying to people. This is like China stuff. Like in China, they sit around in a boardroom and they're like, "Oh, hey, what do you think the GDP should be this year?" And then they make up a number. This is like that. Like, this is like China. This is ridiculous.
They are not lying.
They're literally lying. We know that they're lying. They know that we know they're lying. What do you mean, Spencer? This is a joke. This is a kangaroo court for dumb adults.
No, look, these numbers, every economic indicator always gets revised every time, right?
That's not the point. They're making the first one up. At least the other one, the math might be bad, but at least they're not lying. This one, they're just making up a number.
No, they're not making up a number.
Can we move on about more important things, please? CPI.
They might occasionally change the methodology of it, right? But they're not making up a number.
I want to apologize to everybody. We are all now dumber after the last 3 minutes, and we're never going to get.
Not making up a number.
This is criminal. This is criminal. Can we talk about the new Fanghai Composite Index, please? Talk about something important. Come on. Talk about a name for an index. The Fanghai Composite. Who gets credit for this one? It wasn't me. Who was that? Was that the Fonz or was that Strazza?
Steve. That was Steve, I think.
That was Steve Strazza coming up.
I'm pretty sure he just came up with it on the fly yesterday.
Wow. Shout out Steve Strazza. That's a great name for an index. The Fanghai Composite. Come on, guys. In the chat, anybody want to weigh in? I'd love to take the credit for that one, but that wasn't me. That's too good. I'm not that creative. I didn't know Strazza was that creative either, to be honest.
I think it just came to him in a moment of genius.
The Fanghai Composite Index. Man, that is quality work right there. Quality work. Well done, Mr. Steve Strazza. We're talking about Tencent, Alibaba, Pinduoduo, Baidu, JD.com. I don't know. Do we pronounce it Xiaomi? Xiaomi?
Xiaomi.
Is that how you pronounce it? Xiaomi?
That's how I would pronounce it. Xiaomi. Yeah.
Anybody? Xiaomi? Brandon Smith, 9.5 out of 9.6. Yeah, all right. That's a good. I mean, man, the Fanghai Composite Index. That is quality work. Shout out Steve Strazza. Seriously, good for him. I'm not that creative. I'm just not. Like I said, I didn't think he was either. Why don't we break down some of these components for the Fanghai Composite here? This is the if you want to zoom in, this is the Magnificent Seven of China, if you will, folks. And so we're looking at Alibaba, right? Basically the Amazon of China. Then you got Pinduoduo, which my understanding was another form of Amazon, another e-commerce platform. Then you got Baidu, right? So this is the Google of China. Then you got BYD Co. So this is like the Tesla of China. And then you got the Xiaomi, right? So this is another electric vehicle. This is the Apple of China, is my understanding. JD.com, which is another online retailer, kind of like a Walmart, Amazon sort of situation. Then, of course, Tencent, which is social media and video games. The Facebook of China, probably the best comparison there. Any thoughts there, guys? Any thoughts here on the Magnificent Seven of China? Mr. Spencer Israel, you are one with the people. How do you feel about this index?
Well, my first thought was I felt like somebody was missing, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But actually, no, I don't think anyone is missing. It's just I'm used to like 6 years ago, 5 years ago, this would have been a very different list. There would have been a whole bunch more of like social media stocks on there, like Cena and Weibo, and they have disappeared essentially. But no, this is a good list. This is I for some reason I saw Baba, I saw Baidu, I saw JD, and I saw Tencent, and I feel like there's one more, but I don't think there is one more. I think he got them all. So it's a good list.
Yeah,
If you look at the list of largest Chinese stocks, it's basically this group and like a whole bunch of banks, and that's basically it. So, and like state-run stuff, right?
Yeah, the idea is to these are the big growth companies. These are I think that rather than, the name Fanghai Composite is fantastic. I hate to say this, but the Magnificent Seven of China is probably more accurate. I guess kind of the same thing. Fang, Magnificent Seven, I guess kind of the same thing. But, these are the big tech, growth, communications, consumer discretionary. Like these are the Mag 7 of the weighting. I don't think the weighting's as egregious as it is in the United States. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I have to look that up, but I guess it depends on the index in terms of the weighting. But these 7, so on an equally weighted basis, if you want to throw that up, I've got a momentum regime chart.
My only gripe is isn't I thought BYD traded like on an exchange in the US. It doesn't? I guess it doesn't. God damn. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
BYD.
BYD Co.
Oh, no. BYD.
Pink sheet.
BYD is Boyd Gaming. God damn it. All right.
Yeah, no, this is on the pink sheets.
Yeah.
The ticker symbol for the BYD.
Not called that anymore, JC.
BYD Co. What?
It's not called that anymore.
What's not called that anymore?
The pink sheets.
What do you mean it's not called that anymore?
That's not what it's called.
Well, it's BYDDF. And why is it not called pink sheets?
That's just not because there are no more pink sheets. Like it's the over the counter OTC markets. That's what it's called. I'm just
chat. You want to weigh in? It will forever be the pink sheets. Anybody? Come on, chat. You want to school this child? It's going to be the pink sheets forever. It's always going to be Joe Robbie Stadium. Sorry.
Okay, whatever.
Come on. Oh, look at that. The Fanghai Composite. I like that. That's a good one. Look at you guys.
The only one that maybe we're missing here is NetEase, but I think it's much smaller. So I don't think we necessarily need that.
I want to look at the bullish momentum regime. Can we do that? So we got a bullish momentum regime in the Fanghai Composite Index, and I think this really kind of tells the story of the transition of this disaster that is China. For anybody who's been involved in this, let's see. for anybody who's been involved in this disaster. Oh, it's here it is. All right, so we're gonna go with slide 2, Mr. Spencer. So this has been, oh, there it is. It's already there, slide 3. All right, throw it up. So this has been quite the disaster, China, for quite some time. Did not get the memo that this is a bull market. But this pattern, for those of you guys who have been paying attention, should look awfully familiar. Like, very familiar, because a lot of our biggest winners, particularly over the past year or so, a lot of, especially this year, look exactly like this. Completing massive bases, breaking out to new highs. I mean, this is a pattern that we see again and again and again, and it's hard to bet against this. It's not something that I want to do, is bet against this. Do we have handy the breadth thrust? Yes, we do have it. All right, so these are, oh, no, we don't have it. Can we throw up the breadth thrusts in China? This is what originally got this on our radar. I got it right here, actually. So here are the breadth thrusts in China. We had the momentum thrust in China. This was the largest momentum thrust in the history of the China ETF. You want to throw up that slide too. It's a little blurry, but gets the job done. So this is from the end of September, when these things absolutely exploded higher. Look at that 1 week rate of change. Best week in the history of China. It was like the best one day change, best 2-day change, biggest relative rate of change compared to emerging markets, compared to Japan. I mean, we saw momentum thrust coming out of China in late September that we had never seen ever before in history. Had never before seen it in history. And then what happened? So that set the stage. We know that these momentum thrusts don't happen at the end of bull cycles. We know for a fact the weight of the evidence by far suggests that they happen near the beginning. So why don't you throw the CSI 300 index, and this is from about 10 days ago, it's about 2 weeks ago. And so going into the United States election that was a little over a month ago, it seemed quite obvious that Trump was going to win by a landslide. The betting markets, the stock market itself, crypto, everything was pointing to a Trump landslide. As it turns out, it was a complete Republican sweep, which in theory, going into that election, I'm like, okay, Trump's going to win. In theory, that's bad for China. So everybody says, what if China doesn't go down on that Trump election? Particularly coming off that monster momentum thrust that we just saw at the end of September, which, as I said, historically comes at the beginning of bull market cycles, not near the end of them. So we have that. We're going into an election. Looks like Trump's going to win by a landslide. Stocks are acting accordingly. Crypto's acting accordingly. Sure enough, Republican sweep, worst thing possible for China, right? Nope. China just consolidated sideways, just chilled out. Very, very healthy action, particularly off that initial momentum thrust. So what happens 10 days ago? Buy them all. Buy all the China stocks, right? Don't pick one, just buy them all, right? Pick your favorite ones, load up. And then sure enough, all of those things have more than doubled since then. So kudos to everybody involved. But if you feel like you missed it, don't. Because the weight of the evidence, because I don't feel like it. I mean, obviously, as much success as we've had, it's always like, oh, should have bought more, right? Could have been more long, right? You always feel that way with such tremendous success, particularly this quickly. Don't feel like you missed it. I don't feel like I did, right? Made some money, probably should have made more. Not the point. I think that there's going to be plenty of opportunities. And the other day, I was talking about it. The other day, people were like, well, JC, this China thing is just a trade, right? It's not an investment. These are two different things. I was like, no. I actually think this is actually a better investment than a trade. I think this thing's got legs. I think this is just the beginning, and all of the evidence continues to point that way. So that's why the one Fanghai Composite Index was created. If you want to throw that up one more time, throw up that bullish regime where you can see that momentum is in a bullish regime, which is not something you've seen for years. It's been years since you could say China and bullish in the same sentence. Been a minute. And here you go. Momentum getting overbought, not getting oversold. Base is completing, sectors are rotating, breadth is expanding. And as you're seeing new areas like small caps, like transports, like Amazon, like Bitcoin, like all these new winners, China is just one of those new winners. Hence the Fanghai Composite Index. How do you like that? How do we like that?
Weren't we talking about inflows out of China into other comparative Asian markets a few months ago? So wouldn't it stand to reason then that, like, if you're going to get a rally in China, that you would get outflows and money coming out of India, for example?
Yeah. And you've seen some of that.
Not really.
But I'm gonna be, you've seen some of it, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I I underestimated just how much of that we would see. And I'm gonna continue to underestimate it. It's just betting against India is just not something I'm trying to do here.
Yeah. All right. I mean, look, I'm all for a trade. You start talking investments, you start losing me a little bit. Well, let's check back in a few months and see.
We will. Before we bring in Kenny, I know Bill's butthurt that I said that Trump won by a landslide. Buddy, it wasn't even close. It was really an embarrassing performance from the Democrats. This isn't a political thing. It's just math. It was pricing in a landslide. They won by a landslide. It really was an embarrassment. And if that makes you sad, then you're at the wrong show.
In elections, 60% is a landslide.
I mean, right? It was a joke. It was really an embarrassment from the Democratic Party. I mean, all of Trump's guys, including Trump, used to be Democrats.
All right, should we bring on? Oh wait, Kenny's. We have Nauss here, but we don't have Kenny here yet. So let's wait a few moments for Kenny, and then we'll bring him in. And I want to talk about AI with Kenny. This AI candle yesterday, I guess they call it a engulfing candle. It was quite a large one. So
yeah, and be careful. Just be careful with these engulfing patterns. I have gone down that trap a few times, particularly in my younger years, overthinking a single candlestick. Where that candlestick shows up is also really important. Keep that in mind. But one candle doesn't make a trend. One candle doesn't end the trend. Keep that in mind.
The same could be said for literally anything. Overthinking any one thing, right, is probably not. It might work for a time, but it'll eventually end poorly, right?
Agreed. Candles are just easier because there's so many of them, and they come every day. They come every minute, right? Like candles are really easy to overthink. So just something to keep in mind. Tough lessons I've had to learn over the years.
It's true. Anything can be overthought. We talked about this with Steve the other day.
And by the way, underthought as well. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be perfectly honest. I underestimated, as bullish as I was Tesla, as you guys know, I underestimated that Elon-Trump relationship. I didn't realize that Mark Andreessen had been at Mar-a-Lago for since the election. He spent half that time at Mar-a-Lago. This is Mark Andreessen. I didn't see that coming. I underestimated just how much all these former Democrats would be so hardcore, friends with all the Republicans. Didn't see that coming. I didn't see how strong it would impact the market.
I think they're just doing what they can do to position themselves in the administration. I wouldn't overthink that. I wouldn't say, you know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, I underestimate it. I mean, I'm thrilled about it because I've been long these stocks and, right, Tesla and all these things. So, I'm winning, but I didn't think it would be quite that powerful. I really didn't. I've really been a little bit in shock.
Mr. Glick is in the house. Let's bring him on.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they took it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Kenny Glick, how we doing?
Ho, ho, ho. Good morning. How you doing?
No complaints, my man. No complaints. Just making sure that nobody here is overthinking any one candlestick.
Hey, I'm the king of not overthinking. I don't think at all.
Kenny, tell us about AI yesterday. That was quite a day.
Yeah, let's talk about
AI, yes. But let's get right into what's going on. We could just talk about yesterday and the day before over and over again. Hey, listen, I want to tell you something. This is the funniest thing. I keep saying this over and over again. I have a trade, right? When it shows up, it hasn't failed in about 2.5 years now. So I'll show you the AI trade. So let me show you the AI trade. I got the charts up. Everything's fancy today. So here's what we do for a living, my friends. Everything else is secondary after this trade. So when you see a stock, again, doesn't matter what stock it is. And again, we were liking this one a couple of weeks ago. Again, part of our space AI chip portfolio. And again, rigatoni is where you want to be right now. RGTI, by the way, we're just trading it this morning. This AI stock,
space AI, what?
The AI space rockets robots trade. They're all rocking, and the quantum fund is just absolutely ridiculous. But let's talk about this trade for just 2 seconds. So again, this is what we do for a living. This is the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal trade, the one we sing songs about, and the one that when it shows up, no joke, hasn't failed in over 2 years. So I wish I was awake for the collapse of the trade, because what you're seeing here is a combination of the pre-market, and then here's the regular session. Pre-market, you're rocking. VWAP breaking, stocks are making new highs, this thing's ripping, and then next thing you know, boom, there's the VWAP break. Your institutional money line, as you like to call it, bang, institutions are exiting this trade. And as simple as this, if you're a shorter at the VWAP, this was the first VWAP break of the morning. It doesn't get more clean than this. You break VWAP, you're using prior high as your stop, risk defined, wham, missed all of that. But when you come in, you say, oh, wow, I really wish I was a part of that trade. Now you go back and realize the market doesn't go down. Every stock's getting bought on dips. When do we buy it? You got it. So let me show you on the 1 minute, on the 2-day chart. So what you're looking at now is just a combination of today's VWAP at the time, that was the blue, and the orange line. So what I have found over the last, got to be now 12 years of doing this trade, you get over the prior day, you get over today's VWAP, you go to the prior day. And if you make it over that prior day, you get that extra leg up. And this was wonderful. And if you were trading this stock, again, it is a great environment where you're able to short something, cover, go long, and then make money on the opposite side. That's why a lot of times, friends, when I'm doing commentary at 8:59 with you, and you hear me talking about how much I love something, 20 minutes later, we're crushing it the other direction. Have no illusions, delusions, or confusions. That's trading. And this is why this is the best market I've seen in a very, very long time. So like this stock RGTI, this was 35 cents, okay, just a couple of weeks ago. And this was one of my favorites because it was Andy Dufresne meets the Dolly Parton meets the Kardashian bottom. So you had the Dolly Parton.
Can you explain the Dolly Parton aspect of it? I see the Kardashian bottom. I see the Andy Dufresne. I'm not seeing the Dolly Parton.
When you have Dolly Parton hanging low before the Andy Dufresne. So this is why this chart was an exact replica of the Carvana trade, where you have this attempt to go higher, and then you break new lows, and you're seeing it right here. It's like artwork to me. And again, if this doesn't jump out to you right now, come to my chat room. I find these charts all day, every week, and that's why I long for the bear market to come back, because that we need crashes to form these patterns. But when they come out of these patterns, and you've got this stock that's been languishing here under $1, and then it comes out, that's their multiple year. That's our favorite. That's where the Andy Dufresne gets going. You see how it broke over that multiple time frame. That's a 3-year VWAP, friends. And then off to the races. And then those little Kardashian moments, that's your goal to get there. And if you get over that, that's the Kardashian bottom break. And now we're back to the point where this thing was breaking down over 2 years ago. And now you're in this realm. So these bigger candles that got annihilated back then, when you get back in that candle, it's easier to get back to the top of where it broke down from. So we threw a target out there at $7.86, thinking there's probably no chance it gets there. And next thing you know, you're here. So this stock, again, how do you keep buying it? You just keep buying it. But right now, you stay on the dailies. This is just the 1 minute. Look how beautiful this was this morning. So if you never heard of this stock up until yesterday, this is just a mini Andy Dufresne. So if you're sitting here just glued to the 1 minute, and then you break over the 1 minute and pre-market highs, and it was breaking 750, that's your dinner bell, baby. So we bought this thing at 750, and again, you didn't have to be in it overnight. 750 to 850, That's a day trader's dream. And right now we cashed out and we're looking to do it again. So over and over again, this is now, again, I keep saying it, it's beyond 1999, JC. This is the greatest trading I've seen in a very, very long time, Spence. And it just continues to be amazing. And you know, I have a casino right in my own house. This is phenomenal action, and it's not stopping. There has not been a pause day in a very, very long time. The action continues to be there every morning.
Give us one more. Give us a big gap down. What's moving? Like, what's moving this morning that you haven't mentioned, that for all of us who have not been looking at the biggest movers, have not been following along, something to participate in today, whether you enter a trade or not? Give us a name that could be a good entry.
You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at some of the lesser quantum names of people that don't understand. Here's one that I think might get. Now, don't all go running by it. This is the dumbest trade I could think of. It's called Quantum Biopharma. Nobody trades it, but it'll get into the algorithm and people will start to buy
just because of the name.
Because of the name.
There's no volume here.
There's no volume here, right? So, but when it hits those chat rooms and it hits those message boards and the kids start buying this thing, keep an eye on this one, because look at the symbol. This is the market we're in. The name of the company is Quantum Biopharma, and the symbol is quantum. You're telling me the stock's not going to rip sooner or later? Of course it is.
I like how Kenny's thinking. That's like when Ethan Allen was ripping because Ethereum was like out of control. So Ethan Allen stock was just ripping to the point where they had to change the ticker symbol for Ethan Allen because these idiots were buying Ethan Allen stock instead of Ethereum. That's a true story. Great
no
question.
Doubt, like
here.
like TLSA, dyslexic people were buying TLSA, thought they were buying Tesla, and the stock was rocking for a while.
Yes, exactly. So I mean, good humans, man.
That's also my conspiracy as to why Fiat Chrysler changed their name to Stellantis, STLA, right?
Right.
It's all the same. It's all the same thing.
But
a lot of people in the chat talking about Reddit, looking for a Reddit short. Do you have any interest in shorting Reddit?
I will kill all of you. Do not short this stock. Do not short this stock. We just broke into a whole new realm. I love this name. I think it's going to $250. The short-term short already happened when it battled there at 120. Once you got over 120, you got to be thinking this thing's going to 180. I would not get in the way of the Reddit stock. And listen, every stock's going to have a pullback. Even Palantir finally found some sellers. The DocuSign finally found some sellers. The PayPal, the DocuSign, the Palantir. Yeah, you'll find some sellers, but don't get in the way of this bad boy. This one is going to 180, possibly 250. I love this name. I would not get in the way.
All right.
Kenny Glick,
hitthebid.com.
I had one more question. Slide 2. I want to know, Kenny, would you consider this Vimeo a Kardashian bottom or an Andy Dufresne? I thought you would call this an Andy Dufresne. Spencer, can you throw that up?
Give me the symbol.
No, he's gonna put it up. So this is the Vimeo on a logarithmic scale chart, just to be clear. I know it might not look it, but it is.
Right on.
Oh my goodness.
So would this be an Andy Dufresne or a Kardashian bottom? Seems more like a Dufresne.
This is more of a Dufresne. Yeah, we don't have the clear cut, big butt cheeks. But yeah, again, if you're in this, you just consolidated at that higher level. You're looking like you got $10 next is your next area right here.
If you want big butt cheeks, look at the new Fanghai Composite Index.
Fanghai Composite Index. Wow.
Yeah, the Fanghai Composite Index is more of a Kardashian bottom. Can you throw that up there, please, Spencer? Can we get the Fanghai Composite in there, please? So the Vimeo is Andy Dufresne because it does not have that big bottom. But here's that Fanghai Composite Index. Now, this is more like that Kardashian bottom, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. Not as pronounced, but you want to see. I like when I see you see it basically blatantly on the chart when there's that one big attempt to rally and it fails. And then it basically goes into hibernation again and then comes out of there. But you got your classic double top break right there.
I mean, that's like a longer term faux show bro potentially happening here.
Yes, there's the faux show and the bro. Yes, you got it, man.
What I'm doing? Kenny, who's listening? Come on. Who's listening?
That's right.
You're taking notes. Grandfather of day trading, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kenny Glick.
I love it.
Bid. Give it up for him, y'all.
All right, guys, I'll see you in the room. Be careful out there. A lot of these stocks are due to come back, but man, it's a lot of fun out there right now. Peace,
YOLO
brothers.
responsibly is what he's trying to tell you. Mr. Kenny
We-
Glick. I am learning. Tell me I'm not learning. Come on. Who's paying
No,
attention?
you are.
around here?
Credit to you. Credit to you.
No, but these are really valuable patterns. The faux show, bro, is something that I've been trying to take advantage of my entire career. I didn't call it the faux show, bro, until one Kenny Glick explained the fake out, the shakeout, and the breakout. The faux,
That's right.
the show, and the bro. Didn't. But it makes perfect sense. We used to call them whipsaws. We used to call them false starts back where I grew up. But the faux show, bro, is way better.
All right, we've been talking about breakout multiplier on the trades we've been putting on there. One of the people who's been using that is Michael Nauss, and he's here, and figured we bring him on and talk about it a little bit. So let's do that.
Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Michael, how
Hey.
you doing, my man?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Dude, that beard is just really something, man. That is
Epic.
that.
good.
I mean, the amount of like beer FOMO that Spencer Israel gets by just looking at you, like him going to sleep at night knowing that he could never pull that off.
No, I just don't have the patience to groom that. Is the thing, right?
Grooming. What's that? I just shower and shampoo it. You shampoo the top, shampoo the bottom, and move on with your day.
Yeah, but you have to
Looks
you have to keep it trim though. No,
Dude, it looks like you haven't finished eating a squirrel. You know, like you're still
all right.
you just ate the head and the rest is still hanging out your mouth.
Well, when it's that cold, it helps too, right? You know, I'm outside and keeps everything nice and warm. Maybe when the
You
summer
are in
comes,
Canada.
I'll give it trim.
Hey,
That's right.
right? You are in Canada.
I was paying a lot of attention there when Kenny was talking because I've got some. I know we're doing some cool stuff, but I when is he writing his CMT chapter and just renaming all of the technical patterns to?
Good question.
Just imagine taking the CMT and instead of learning about cycle theory or point and figure charts or something, you were talking about Andy Dufresne and Kardashians and all that kind of stuff. Be way more.
I
fun.
mean, you know, it's what it is. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the Alan Shaws and the Luis Yamadas of the world and the Ralph Acamporas, they all came up with their own stuff. There's nothing stopping us from us making up words. So shout out to Kenny Glick. So for the folks who don't know, Michael comes to us from a more quantitative mindset. Formerly trained CMT charter holder, of course, like many of the rest of us. So comes to us, you know, with the body of knowledge, but then from a quantitative standpoint, looking to quantify that faux show, bro, the Andy Dufresne, and others like it, and have been working intimately with the one Kenny Glick in order to do that. So, I mean, there's nothing stopping us from sharing some of these results. I mean, you know, people like to see the way the sausage is made. You know, let's hear it. You know, what are your thoughts? What are you seeing? And then we can get into some other stuff.
Yeah, sure. So the beauty of what Kenny did is he's been doing it forever, right? He's just sitting there hammering out. So he has a lot of the data. He knows what works. So what I'm kind of chatting with him about is saying, okay, where do you add value to your trades? And I think this is something that everybody should really stop and think about with their trading. Where do you add value to your trading and where don't you? Right. So a lot of people think, and I've been guilty of this as well, you're watching your P&L tick up and down all day and you think you're doing something there. You're not doing anything there. So with Kenny, what I'm trying to do is saying, okay, he does a good job of finding these really obscure names that no one else has heard of that will blow up one way or another. But when it comes to entry and exit, he's on here every day, and I'm usually at the gym or with a baby listening to this. And every day he's saying, look, I wait for this VWAP to break, and then I buy it here, and then I take it to that VWAP. And so he has a whether he knows it or not, he's a quant when it comes to entry and exit, right? He's got very specific rules for entry, very specific rules for entry or exit, but he's kind of picking the stocks based off what's going on in the market. So what we're doing and what we're trying to work on is saying, okay, can you just feed a system the stocks that you think are going to move, and the system will watch those stocks all day long and wait for those specific things to happen and either alert you or enter for you or something like that, so that instead of watching 100 different stocks and 100 different charts and all of that kind of stuff as well. The all you got to do is you just got to hit your button. You got to fill your watch list in the morning, and you just wait. You wait for your alert to come in. When your alert comes in, you take your trade. You know, automating as much as you can without going kind of full quant with it, right?
And then what about yourself? Like before talking with Kenny Glick, you know, some of the stuff that you've been doing. So you're running 4 models at this point?
Yeah, so I run a bunch. I run 4 models, anything from investment to very short-term trading, pullback trading, that kind of thing. I think that different models and trading different models is a lot of the secret out there, because there's sometimes, like right now, where investment and long-term and trend following models are just killing it. You're best just to buy a bunch of stuff and walk away and kind of move on.
When in other environments, those trend following models suck.
Yeah. So you either want to turn them off, and that's what I do from the discretionary point of view. It's why I'm always going through charts and trying to detect, okay, I think we're coming to a time where trend following is going to suck. Let me turn off the trend following models. Let me start trading some pullback models, some revision to the mean trades, being a little bit more tactical in and out and doing that kind of thing. So the beauty of what I do when I'm backtesting these things to like 1990, 1980. So I can go through as a historian of the market, and I can say, how did this work during 2001? How did this work during 2008? Right? What happened in these periods, so that if I start to see the same kind of things happening in the charts, I can know this is the strategy I want to run instead of this one, that kind of thing. Like, for example, before the election, I expected a lot of chop because no one's going to make a bet before the election hits. So I was doing a lot of the pullback and revision to the mean stuff. The second the election was done, I just turned those off and flipped back to the trend following and investment modes, because everything was just absolute skyrocketing, right?
How do you decide that? Like, how do you, you know, is it really just discretionary? Is it really just a gut and a feel of which ones you turn on and off, or is that calculated somehow as well?
There's some rules. You know, for example, if the S&P 500 is below a declining 200-day moving average, generally you don't want to be trend following. That's a pretty hard rule you can do, but that rule doesn't cover things like the COVID crash, right? That happened too fast, down and up. So if you had used that rule, you would have been worse off. So there's hard rules there for sure. But this is why I think, you know, people that are pure quants and don't look at charts and don't focus on what's going on around you are in trouble, because, you know, the computer systems don't know that COVID's a thing and there's craziness going to happen, but humans did. So one thing that I just did is, you know, when we had that first like lock limit down day, I just shut everything off and I'm just watching everything super closely. Days like those, that's why I have day trading systems, because those were doing amazing. You didn't need to hold things for a couple of days. You're getting, even on the index, you were getting a couple % swings every single day.
Can you talk about the uncorrelated strategies aspect of it, like the Ray Dalio influence on your thinking? Because this is something that's near and dear to my heart. For some reason, I get a lot of pushback on it. Like, people just either they don't care, or they just don't want to do it, or they don't think it necessarily works, which is the concept of adding additional strategies to your portfolio that are uncorrelated or very much less correlated with the other stuff that you're doing. Not only are you not sacrificing forward returns by minimizing the volatility in the portfolio, you're allowing that portfolio to compound faster over time. So not only are you not sacrificing those forward returns in favor of diversification, as it turns out, it's actually the opposite. You're making more money faster, right? That's my interpretation of all of it. And this is the world that I live in. And as I've accumulated more wealth over the years, that has become more important and more instrumental in both my mentality and strategy, right? So how close am I to how you're thinking here?
Spot on. I think the biggest thing to tell people that are talking about that is that diversification across assets doesn't really work, right? We've been through 2000, we've been through 2008, we've been through 2020. Didn't matter what you were in. It was all crashing, right? So if you're thinking, oh, I own a little bit of Bitcoin, I own a little bit, even the whole 60-40 nerds, right? During 2023,
Why do you call 60-40? Why do you call them nerds?
I don't think anything. I don't think they make sense doing that kind of stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me because
Are you throwing shade at the 60-40 people?
I'm throwing a little shade. It's
All
like
right,
you,
little Canadian out there throwing shade at the 64. I see you, dog. I see you.
yeah. So if in a crash all correlations of assets go to 1, then if you want to diversify, you got to do it across strategies, right? So a very simple way to do it, and a strategy that's been out there for a long time, is simply trend following and long-term trades in low VIX environments, and pullback revision to the mean trades in high VIX environments. And if you think about it like that, it makes a lot of sense. I don't want to be holding that slow uptrending Costco or something like that if the VIX is at 30. Right? Because that means there's something crazy going on. I'm going to get a lot of P&L swings. And the other benefit there as well is that there's certain buying power benefits. We're not hedge funds, right? We all have buying power limits. So I'm okay with having a long-term portfolio, and maybe most of my cash is allocated to that, and then dipping into a bit of margin to take some short-term trades here or there. But I may not be comfortable going, 3-time margin on stocks that I'm planning on holding forever. But if this stock is pulling back, I've got a setup that says, hey, you buy it here, you hold it for a couple of days or a week. Maybe I'll take a shot there.
So you want to get into a few charts, see what's on your mind?
Yeah. So this is, I brought a little bit about how I kind of make the sausage, because I was talking with Strazza. I watched your guys' webinar and the breakout webinar, and me being a nerd, I'm like pixel peeping the whole thing to see what I could get. So I just have a little bit of some charts on how I do it. So the first chart's just showing what I stole from you guys. As a quant and as someone who doesn't have to monitor the market all day, because I'm already done trading for the day, right? I've got all my orders set out. I've got all my alerts done.
I love how you're already done trading for the day. Market hasn't even opened yet, and he's already done trading.
I'm either the alerts will happen and I'll bring up my phone and place a trade, or they won't, right? So I spend a lot of time doing nerd stuff. I read
so that way you can spend the rest of your time shoveling snow.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of that. Yeah, but I read studies, I watch webinars, I do all this kind of stuff. I've got this whole study on Williams R versus stochastic that's like 30 pages long. That's going to be interesting today.
Nerd alert.
Yeah. But when I'm watching your guys's breakout multiplier, this is interesting because I've been looking to build a breakout strategy, one that's looking to, capture some momentum out of a base and go from there. And Steve quantified this in a really interesting way. I won't blow up your spot on how you do it, but he had this volatility squeeze indicator on the bottom.
Yeah.
So from the presentation, I kind of grabbed that. And yeah, this was the screenshot that I grabbed, right? I'm sitting there, I'm watching the presentation. I see that and I grab that and I go, okay, let me explore this squeeze indicator a little bit. So the first chart I have is just an equity curve going back to 1990 of just something really dirty and basic that I made of using what I learned from that squeeze indicator and saying, okay, when the squeeze indicator says this, and then you get a big breakout the next day, what happens if you buy that stock and you hold it for a month? Right, all across the entire Russell 3000, survivorship bias, all that kind of stuff taken into account. And, not the best thing in the world, not something that I would trade, but equity curve goes up, right, with slippage and commission, all that included. So that gets me right in the door and saying, okay, and this is when I messaged Steve and said, okay, you're definitely on to something with this. I think there's like 50,000 trades in this basket. So there's some evidence that, there's some, if you go back that far and during all these periods, it works. Now you see those flat periods of time, because what I did, and this is what we can learn from doing this, I did the same thing. If the SPY is below the 200-day moving average, for me, at least as a systematic guy, it's probably not where I want to be putting my money, right? Because those breakouts probably just don't have the oomph. Happens. So the system goes to cash when the SPY is below the 200-day moving average. Again, if you guys are
how very Paul Tudor Jones of you.
Yeah, and it's basic, right? It makes sense. Not a lot of good things happen when the SPY is below, especially a declining 200-day moving average. So then I get really nerdy. So I don't know how much we want to talk about genetic algorithms, but this next
chart. What's the difference? What's a genetic algorithm versus like I don't know, a non-genetic one? I don't know the difference.
Well, so if we go to the next chart, so this is a cleaned up version. So what I did is Steve has some settings for his squeeze indicator, but I wanted to go, okay, I've got my 50,000 trades. Are those the optimal settings? So what I did is I had my poor computer working overnight one night, And so a genetic algorithm basically is the same as genetics with people, right? You put the two settings together and it spits something out, and then you look at it and you say, is that better than the two things apart, or is it worse? And if it's better, then you keep that, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. Because the problem is, if you were to run even these three settings that happens, and you were to say, I want to test these up out 100 things, you're talking thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of iterations. So this is about 120 iterations where I can get some kind of idea to say, what are the optimal settings for this particular indicator? And it spit out 100 different results. I can go through and I can look at those and I can say, this equity curve or these equity curves, I like way better than that one before. Less trades, less for me to do. And it's very spiky. And that's what I want from an equity curve. And that's what you guys are trying to do. And again, this is just the stock, right? So what you guys are trying to do with the options is, again, multiply this. So you just get these stocks that just go insane every now and then, right? You get these just massive, massive moves in companies with these new settings. So it helps filter out a lot of the noise. And of course, because you guys made it, if I can hit you up with what the inputs were for this particular one.
Yes, please. I would encourage you to continue to work with both Steve and Kenny, because I think that these are two very unique strategies that can be repeated over and over and over again, and letting the machines help the humans. I mean, I don't think it can hurt. I mean, as great as these things have been working, like, we're not just going to sit there and do end zone dances. We're going to keep iterating, keep making things better. What's wrong with that, Michael?
Why, you got the technology. Why wouldn't you, right?
And we got the Canadian.
And he got the Canadian. And I look at it as like, everyone uses Google Maps in your car. You'd be dumb not to. Why wouldn't you? Why would you grab an old school map and go when you can just tell your phone where you want to go and it will tell you? Now, your phone may tell you to go down that road. You know that road's shit. It's really busy right now. So you may ignore it, right? That's why I think the human discretion is still very important. But use the technology to help you, right? Last bit I've got a couple examples that it spit out today, if you want to look at those.
Yeah, please.
I've just got the next chart is just a GIF, and it just shows that I can now go through very, very quickly thousands of these trades. And I'm just clicking down on the keyboard and I'm just looking. These are the trades, the best trades that it output. So I can kind of train myself and say, what do these trades look like when they really, really work out? And I'm just going through, I just sorted all the best trades. So I'm trading the machine, but now the machine's trading me, and I'm going through and I'm saying, what do these things look like? How many days after they trigger do they go through? And I'm just hammering these out. So I've got 3 examples that came up. I ran the system last night and it just spits out, here's the results today. Again, this isn't done yet. This is just kind of how I work on it. I just continue to work away on these things because I don't need to spend much time trading because everything's kind of automated. ASTS is the first chart that I have here. That's it meets the Bollinger Band squeeze criteria. It's really highly ranked. I just threw an anchored view app from that high. I think if it turns around and gets back above that might be an interesting.
What's your universe, Michael?
I generally do the Russell 3000 with survivorship bias, and anyone who's interested in quant trading, that is, I don't know how many times I see people not accounting for that, and it hurts me deep inside.
Where do you get your data for the back testing? One hole's asking.
Norgate. I use Norgate data. I find that they're the best for that survivorship bias, because there's
how far back is that survivorship bias in the indexes?
It's going to be the creation of all the index. I can go back to 1950, but a lot of those indexes obviously didn't exist there.
You can go back to 1950. What about the Dow? Can you go back to the 1800s or no?
I don't think I can do 1800. I could check. I haven't checked to go that far. For me,
but 1950 for all of the indexes?
For all the indexes that existed, yeah. For every survivorship that exists. So
S&P 500, S&P 1500, the whole thing, huh?
And I can do the entire market as well. The problem I have with that is sometimes.
Can we talk later today? I got some stuff for you.
Okay. You can talk anytime you want. The problem I have doing with the entire market, and I end up generally scanning the entire market, is you get a lot of junk. The thing I like about the Russell 3000 is there's some quality control there. So I usually test it on that. But then when I run my scans, I will use the entire market because I can do that quality control myself, right?
That's interesting how you do that. I like that, Michael.
Yeah, because
you test it on the Russell 3, but then you open it up once you go live and you make those decisions. I love that.
Yeah. It's all, again, for me, it's all about where and when you think you add value. I think I add value. Give me 10 charts that meet the setup and the criteria. I think I'm going to add value looking at the ones that might look the best, like this ASTS. I think this looks great.
Throw that ASTS up again.
I know this sector's hot. The algorithm doesn't know this sector's hot, right? I know we're in a degenerate market right now where the FARC coin chart looks amazing. The system doesn't do that. So it's like, where can I add value? So I like ASTS where the system may say something else, right? So if this one can get going, again, it meets that squeeze criteria. It's in the hot sector, all that kind of stuff. The other two are more boring for people that want that. The next one's just lows. And again, so I do the technical analysis after I get my list set. I like this lows. It broke these kind of all-time highs. It retested them. It held it. It's just consolidating here. So lows is something that, generally speaking, from a stock point of view, you're not going to get anything crazy on. But for you guys who trade options, maybe there's some juice there. And same with this last one, which is just 3M. A nice kind of rounded bottom on 3M, and then it kind of gets consolidated. So yeah, that one there. So a nice looking chart there as well. So it's using discretion to come up with the idea. It's using bots and systems to test to make sure your idea makes sense. And then it's using discretion out the other end to say, of those charts, which that I like. And then the same thing that we were talking about with Kenny. I want to use Kenny to find, like, I was going to say fall in my chair, but I'm standing. When he brought up that one stock that was like quantum computer, biopharma stuff, like no system's going to find that, but he can find that. But if I can feed that into a system, well, now instead of being one man who can watch one or two stocks at a time, maybe we can superpower a Kenny and make him a cyborg who can watch like 30 stocks a day, because either he's getting alerted when his thing happens, or he's getting just the trade enters his blotter and he just looks at it and he goes, oh, well, I'm in ASTS now. What do I do with it? Right. For me, when it comes to day trading, when the systems I'm building, that's more or less how it does. I just see the trade enter. I don't know where it came from. I said, okay, I'm short this company right now. And then deal with it as it comes.
Kenny Glick with superpowers is a scary thought, my friend. It's a scary, scary thought.
Yeah. Superhero or supervillain? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe some of both, depending on whether he's on your team or not. Getting some the peanut gallery, bringing in the technology guy with cords on his earphones.
Listen, I've got the pros, I've got the AirPods, I got the whole nine. It's kind of like the more fancy your car gets, there's just more stuff to break. I don't want to be here and then like the earbud breaks and then I don't hear you and I gotta
tell him, Michael. Tell him I use the do I have my cordless ones? I don't have them here. I use the ones with cords also, mostly because I have a harder time losing them. So I find a way, don't get me wrong, I find a way to lose them, but less often than the others, just to be clear. And then I did have one more question. Oh yeah, I had a confession to make. I am one ignorant bastard, let me just tell you. I like to pride myself a little bit on my geography. My geography is not bad, right? My geography is pretty good. We just hired someone who said, as it turns out, she's not 4 hours from Vancouver. She's a little bit more east. But I literally said these words came out of my mouth. I didn't realize the earth went that far north that you can go 4 hours north of Vancouver. I didn't know. And then I looked at the map. I was like, wow, there's a lot of room up there, these Canadians. You guys got a lot of land, bro. 4 hours north of Vancouver is nothing.
We have a bunch of land, but if you look at it, I think it's like 90% of Canadians live south of Seattle, right? Because we all just huddle up right near the border where it's the warmest. And then, we've got tons of stuff. I got a buddy who's a cop up north, and he gets the whole 24-hour sun or 24-hour darkness sometimes. It was negative 38 degrees Fahrenheit last summer.
Is that necessary, Michael? I mean, is that really like, does a human need to be in that? I mean, it's only December. It's only going to get worse.
Well, and he's like, as a cop, he's like, I'm just sitting there. Like, what if someone commits a crime? I'm just going to open the door and the guy's going to freeze to death. Like, who's out there stealing stuff in negative 38 degree weather anyway?
Right.
What do I need to be here for?
That's just not necessary.
No,
that's just not necessary. Shout out Canada. I'm a huge Canada fan. huge Canada fan. What's your favorite city in Canada?
I should say Halifax because that's where I live. I really love Montreal though. I really do.
Montreal, your favorite city in Canada. All right.
Yeah, I was there a couple of years ago with Sean, and we climbed up
Of
Mount
course you were
Royal.
there with Sean.
Oh yeah, he loved it, and of course
He wants to be Canadian so bad.
Well, and of course he's the one waking me up in the morning and say, "Hey, let's go climb a mountain," because I'm up all night having so I'm having a hard time in the morning. He's chipper. Yeah, let's go hike up a mountain. But no, it's just a great. You've got new city, you've got old city. It's like New York. It's just a little bit more culture to it.
I haven't been to Montreal in a minute. It's where I learned how to ski up there in Mont Blanc, a little Champ de Clair. If you know, you know.
Exactly. No, it's great.
Michael, I think the consensus is between 50 and 70% of Canadians live south of Seattle. Not quite 90, but close.
Not quite 90. Well, for
Guy
now,
from
right?
Jersey correcting the Canadian quant over here.
Well,
Hey,
I just I AI'd it and just
Do they count the ones that fly to Florida? Because I bet you the population of Florida is at least like 5-10% Canadian. We call them snowbirds. Every October, they're just like, that's it, I'm out. And they stay the exact amount of time that you guys will let us on the visa, and then they fly back when it gets warmer again.
Yeah, we have those too in the Northeast. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Awesome. All right. Cool.
Mr. Nauss, we will talk later. I got some breath work that I could use some help on.
This is what I love doing, right?
I know. Just get the nerds their data and just let them go. Just let them go nuts. I get
Absolutely.
it. I know.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I can. All right.
Just give me a math equation.
I got survivorship bias going back to 1950. I'll tell you that, because a lot of our stuff goes back to 90, and then it's kind of a pain to get the stuff before that. But 1950. Now we're talking.
You should check out Norgate, because they don't have intraday data, which is a shame. But they've got Canadian, they got Forex, they've got I think Australian.
I need daily closes.
Daily high, low, open, close volume. So then
we can calculate momentum from there.
Then I build, right. I could tell you the math equation for probably half the popular indicators that are out there, so I can just build them from there.
Love it. Let's go. I love the fact that you just know these equations. I've looked at these equations. I gave a momentum presentation like a few months ago, and I just put the RSI formula just so people could see it, so we could just laugh at how I wouldn't know how to read it. It's just funny to me, like something that I use every single day. Looking at the formula makes me more confused. And so I just thought that was hilarious. So I'm like, I just need to show you guys how ridiculous this is.
It's just all about doing what you enjoy. I like all trading is a puzzle. I like the nerd and the math side of that puzzle.
Love it. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Nauss. I will call you later.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right. Adios.
All right. It is.
Come on.
No, he's great.
So good.
Yeah. I kept waiting I was watching the background the whole time. I was waiting for like a moose to pop out, but no moose.
He's out there.
No moose. All right.
I was in Toronto. I was like, oh, come hang out tonight. Like me, ignorant. He's like, dude, it's like 4-hour flight.
Yeah.
Canada's big, man.
It's a big place.
Christ, have I underestimated? As somebody who loves Canada as much as I do, I clearly know nothing.
Toronto's the only place in Canada that I've been to, city at least, and I like Toronto.
Dude, I love Toronto.
All right,
great town.
We have Mary here. Let's bring her on, and then maybe we'll do some recess and hop out a couple minutes early, shall we?
Do it.
Hello.
Hey, Mary.
Good morning.
I wanted to say hi. I got to hop. Trying to get us canceled. Mr. Spencer Israel. Mary, take care of this place, please. Don't let him screw it up.
Best.
I got to go. Adios.
And he's gone.
Mary,
what's on your mind?
Hey, I feel like now I want a little like Mary show across the
I don't have that.
Sorry. I know you don't. That's okay. Well, I've never been here alone with just you and me. This is kind of strange.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wait,
so go ahead.
Play with all the controls and all the buttons, and we can do some weird things here. Let's see what else we got.
What is that saying? Like
choo choo, motherfuckers.
Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
we've actually joked, my family and I have joked about with the whole meme coin thing going on and doing the craze. We're like, we need to make a JC coin and have it CCMF, ticker symbol CCMF, choo choo. Anyway, so we've talked about that. Maybe we'll see it. You'll see meme coin, the JC coin, coming out here shortly. So what's on my mind? Okay, so the last couple of days I've actually been selling. And so, it's the selling into strength. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on the show, so lots happened. Right before the election, I was all in. I told you guys I'm all in, and so now my husband got into my account the other day, and he's like, "Whoa!" And so that was kind of the indicator that I needed to. Okay, now it's time to take some money, time to cash in and pay myself. So, also looking at some tax harvesting right now and selling the losers because there are some of those. But a couple of tickers that are on my mind right now today. Tesla, I brought the Tesla chart along. This was one that I got involved in, I think, just the day before the election. This was my Trump trade, and it worked out. Obviously, Elon very closely associated with Trump here and during the election and now on. And so I took this with the anticipation of going back up to highs. And we're here. So I did take some of this trade off, but I am letting a lot of it ride just because, you can't argue a great base. I love a good base. We always say bigger the base, the higher the space. And so, I think if we are above those former highs, if we close above that and stick that, then, I haven't done the Fibonacci extensions, but I think we've got a lot of room to the upside. This also reminds me a lot of what we've seen in so many other stocks this year. Amazon comes to mind, had the base and then finally the breakout and off it goes. And we've seen it over and over and over again. I feel like this one just needs to play some catch up. So this one's on my mind, watching to see how it handles these former highs.
So you trimmed or no?
I trimmed a little bit.
Okay.
Yep. I trimmed a little bit just because, I have had, when I was early in trading, I got myself caught so many times, and I learned this lesson so many times the hard way. I would get into a trade, it would go up, and I'd be feeling like the smartest person alive. And then it would start to go down. It'd be just, all those biases kick in of, oh, but it's going to go back up, or, oh, this time's different. And I would just ride them down. And then that's, money lost and opportunity cost because I'm riding it down, waiting for it to come back up. So I have learned, find your target, take some off, reevaluate. And, if this gets above this 400 and sticks this landing and continues on, I'll probably add back to the position. But for right now, I took a little bit off of this one just because it had a pretty aggressive move right after the election, and maybe it needs to cool off. Maybe it puts in a handle. I don't know. We'll see.
Always good to pay yourself first. All right. What
exactly.
else?
I also brought along BABA. So we've been talking a lot about the China trade. And I actually have a whole list of China stocks that I've got all kinds of alerts on. Initially missed this move. When did this happen? In September? That big, we talk about it, the momentum thrust. Yep. So I missed that move. And of course, I was hating myself for it because I've been in and out of BABA so many times waiting for this China story to move. And I missed it. But I have been accumulating here as we've kind of been pulling back. I love the RSI bullish divergence on this one. So this is a weekly chart. You can see the RSI is just making higher lows while we've been putting in this base. That always, to me, screams bullish. So I've been building a position in Alibaba. I think if we get above, what is that? Roughly around like 120. That's where there are a couple of different highs there. That's going to be resistance. Plus, there is a VWAP anchored from highs right at that level too. So that's kind of my first target on Alibaba. And then kind of like Tesla, we'll see what happens there. Probably will pay myself some. And if we just blow right through it, then maybe I'll just leave it alone and just let it go. We'll see.
I like this because you wanted to buy it, but you didn't chase it. You waited for it to come to you.
Yeah. And
right?
That move was so massive. It felt silly to chase. And I mean, sometimes, they push through and have that massive move and just keep going and you just miss it. And that's just the nature of the game. But I thought, I was going to wait and be patient on this one. And as with so many of the other China stocks, it's waiting has been has paid off because we had the move earlier this week again, and
Yep.
that was an automatic payday there. So a lot happening in China, and it'll be interesting to see where this one goes in the next couple of weeks and months.
Yeah, and look, the move we got on Monday and the move we got in September were both in reactions to helicopter money coming out of the government. And if you think there's not going to be more of those headlines, you're probably wrong, right? Like that's now twice in, I guess, 3.5 months that they've said we're going to drop money from the sky onto our economy. So they're going to do it, and that means they're going to talk about it more.
Yeah.
And if every time they talk about it, Alibaba and the rest of these guys are up 10% that day, I mean, it's just it's a natural tailwind. So
Yeah, for sure. Yep, for sure.
I'm not thinking about.
Yep, exactly. So that's kind of what's on my mind. I've been kind of super busy with the families and holidays, so
Oh yeah.
it's just been about securing the profits that I've made this year, paying myself, also looking for some opportunities to sell some losers and make that tax bill go down a little bit. But
You were like obscenely long right into the election. You
everything.
were everything. You're
Everything.
full. Yeah. Okay.
I
All
was
right.
full,
Look,
man.
if you're having trouble sleeping, it means you've got too
But I
much on the
wasn't.
table.
I really wasn't. It was
Okay.
I really wasn't. It was just the last couple of days where you guys were talking about the candles. No, obviously I don't look at it as one bearish engulfing candle. I
Right.
kind of like to look at, especially like on a weekly. If I see a large bearish engulfing on a weekly, that's a little bit different than a daily. But there's a lot of things that are extended. I sold some of my Palantir. I sold some of my Soundhound. Sold some of my Robinhood finally. I realized at one
Robinhood's
point,
pulled
yeah,
back the last couple days. Yeah.
yeah, and so, it was just like I said, I've ridden them down so many times, just bag holding and then having to wait. And that's just an opportunity cost that I could be putting that money, those gains somewhere else that, might be seeing the rotation for the next couple of months. And so I'm still very bullish. But yeah, I needed to take some off the table just because it was time to pay myself and make sure that the account doesn't go down because it's seen a nice healthy bump.
Always fun to pay yourself. And according to our own Grant Hawkridge, who will be on this very show tomorrow, the new lows list is increasing a little bit. What are we at? Like 7 days in a row of more new lows and highs, or more decliners and advancers in the S&P. We'll talk about that tomorrow with Grant. So still bullish, but
Yep.
maybe something to watch. All right.
How about our Lions, Phil? Oh, love me
Dude,
some Lions.
how about the Lions? I want on the record, I've been on the bandwagon for like 4 years now. I did not get on the bandwagon last season. I've been on the bandwagon. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Love it.
Do you want to do some recess?
Yeah, let's do recess.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, hey, I see Billy's comment here. CELH, that's another one. I actually just got involved in that one. Kind of at an interesting area of support, right? I don't have the chart in front of me, but just recently, and I think there's a MACD cross maybe on the weekly, monthly maybe. I don't know. I like that one too. That's got nice tight risk reward opportunity there. Shout out Billy.
What a wicked drawdown that's been in. Oh my
I know.
gosh.
Yeah. It's so oversold, but it can stay oversold.
Perhaps.
So who knows?
Perhaps.
But you can have a nice tight stop on that one. I do. So yeah, that was another one that I thought about bringing today, but didn't. So shout out Billy. Yeah, I'm in that one.
Mary, you're getting some comments on your interior decorating.
I am.
Yep.
Touch on the painting. Oh, the painting. So here, let me move. So this painting. My mom is a painter, and so this is northern Michigan. If you're familiar with Michigan, this is Harbor Springs. This is the Petoskey Bay, Lake Michigan. And so she paints, and so my house is full of paintings. They're oil. And yeah, all Michigan type things, usually northern Michigan. And she loves to like layer on all kinds of paints, and it's all globby, and I love it. So we're a family of color, as you can see, in the sense that we love color. We don't do beige. So
No, you don't. The only time you do like lukewarm colors is when you're at the Michigan game, right? And you're wearing
true.
like lukewarm blue,
I wear navy.
maize and blue. You did
Speaking
go
of,
to the Big House with Sean,
yes. Yep.
and
So
one of my favorite sporting venues that exist. It's
did you
awesome.
happen to throw the picture into the slide or the slide deck? I put one in Slack.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. So a couple of weeks ago, because it's been a couple of weeks, I don't know if my boy Sean is in the chat today. Sean was in Michigan, and so we had made the plan to get together, go to the Michigan game. We took our two boys, and it was their first time to the Big House. This was just such a fun day. It was the Northwestern game. It was the last day at home. They just blew Northwestern out of the water, which was kind of unexpected. Which then kind of, I felt like, set the stage for that Ohio State game. But it was a fun day. It was cold. I mean, Michigan in November is not pleasant, but it was dry. So very happy that we had a dry day. It was a 3:30 game, which was strange. And so we got some of the daytime, but then we also got the lights at night, and because it turned into a night game. So it was a ton of fun, and it was fun having Sean and his son in Michigan. I walked around campus a bit, saw the band come out of the building and do the whole band thing. It was a great time. So
I love Sean wearing the Bills hat. Just so out
he
of
found
place.
a lot of Bills friends. It was really funny. Every time we would walk by someone else wearing something Bills, go Bills. So he found a lot of friends. He made a lot of friends. Yeah.
All right, fine. To each their own. I don't have a recess. I don't think.
Right.
No, sorry. I've had a pretty quiet few days. I know there's some questions in the chat. Yes, I am still holding on to my Luigi. I am down about 30%, give or take. But it was literally
Diamond hands.
what? No, it's not even about that. It's literally $50. Like I told
You
this is
never
like
know, that
I was
50
literally
could
dipping my
become
pinky
5
toe in
million.
water here. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I have it open on my screen. I check it once or twice a day, and I suppose if it goes to 0, I'll probably get rid of it. But I don't know. I don't have a plan here. You know, the plan was to get involved and figure it out as I went. So I'm not doing technical analysis on a meme coin with 2 days of price history. So you can forget about that. I'm just gonna kind of watch it and play it by ear and see what happens. But it was my first foray, and I'm involved now. So what can I
I'm
say?
proud of you, Spencer. That's a big step. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was big for me. It was big for me. So I actually did it. It actually really easy. I was kind of surprised because you just have to transfer. I transferred money from my Coinbase wallet to my wallet on Spot.dog, and then I had to sell the Solana, and the whole thing took like 30 seconds. It was amazing how
Very
fast
nice.
it was. Yeah.
Very nice. Good
So
for you.
all right, that's what I got. What's today? Today's Wednesday. We have our weekly team meeting in a little bit. Steve will be going live for Hot Corner Insider members at 1. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll have a little Kenny Glick live stream in the afternoon. And those of you who are in members of AAC Premium or Mastermind, you will get the next Mastermind this afternoon with JC. So that is the plan, and we're done. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for chatting. We appreciate it as always. The comments, the questions, the concerns, the feedback, good, bad, otherwise. Follow us on the socials. There they are. We appreciate that. Here's our weekly calendar, and we're done. So smash the like and go make some money, all right? And YOLO responsibly.
YOLO responsibly.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even